Good morning and welcome to episode 5 of the Wrestling Report. My name's Stephen Fairbairn. As always, I'm here with a wonderful bunch of guests today, a family group, so something a bit different, something that we haven't done before. Obviously, I normally have a lot of guests on, but this time they're all related, so we'll see if there's any infighting, any squabbling, but I'm sure they've got lots of great stories for her. Let me just introduce my guests. So first and foremost, we have the patriarch of the family, Mr. Thomas Blood.
Hello.
The matriarch of the family, Ms. Bella Blood.
Hello.
And the two youngsters, we've got Drogo and we have got Will, the Blood family. So obviously check them out online, see what you think. Obviously the young lads are up and coming. Got the two established members of the family here. Just before we continue, if you don't mind, I'm just going to do a quick shout out to both my sponsors who allow us to film in this lovely building. A bit chaotic in here today, as you saw beforehand, but we'll keep it going. So first and foremost, we've got Valves and Vibes Motors and Cameras. They are a upcoming local company who do custom tent roofs on Land Rover Defenders and other custom camping gear for cars and outdoor vehicles. And also, a little bit coffee stain, but Insane Competitions, which is an online pay-to-play competition site. Give them a look, lots of giveaways, lots of good prizes. You never know, you might win something decent. Right, so we'll crack on. Thank you for coming back on again, and thank you all for coming on for the first time. So first and foremost, your introduction to wrestling, obviously yourself, I know you've been doing it for roughly 4 years now, I think you said.
Yeah, I think about 4 years.
Yeah. Just quickly, if you don't mind, I'm just going to bypass you just very briefly.
Fair enough.
How about yourself?
About 2.5 years.
2.5 years, and how are you finding it so far?
Good.
Yes.
I love it. I mean, it was an unexpected thing. I didn't, it wasn't planned at all, and it's brilliant. I love it. I love that we can all do it together.
It's fantastic. It is.
So yeah.
I love that, because I mean, this is the thing, as I was saying to yourself, I mean, we've spoken before, and I know we had met briefly at a show a while ago. It's one of those things, I know families are a huge thing in wrestling. Obviously you've got, the big families who run like the Hearts, McMahons and whatnot, but in terms of an actual family unit, a family group getting to do it together, it's not something, especially all working at the same time. Yeah. You don't get that, you know what I mean? And obviously I know the young lads will come to you soon, don't worry. They haven't had much in the way of matches, I know you've said, but they're obviously training, and I know you were saying before we went to camera, you've got things coming up. But I mean, just to go into it, what was your debut match like? Or can you remember?
Yeah, so what happened, I mean, Will had been wrestling a little while, and then you started, and then Drogo started. And it was about 2.5 years ago, Big Chris, our trainer, his wife, messaged a few women, and she's like, I've had this idea, like a few of us will get together and we'll train for 6 months and we'll do a charity show. Awesome. And I didn't even really think about it. I was like, yeah, that sounds all right, I'll do that. And at the time it was meant to be like a big secret, so we didn't tell them. Right. And I was training on a Wednesday when they weren't there, and somebody let it slip, and I just got these text messages from him like, what are you doing? Oh my God, I can't believe this. Oh my God, you're going to break a hip.
I'd forgotten about that. Yeah, I'd forgotten.
And I was like, okay, someone let it. So
you kept it secret for quite a while.
For a little while, and then we did.
Months,
and then we did this charity show, which was just amazing. I mean, it was really early to do it after 6 months, but like we packed the place, and it was just such an amazing experience to do all this stuff that I didn't think I could do at my age, No, I get that. And then all of the other women left, and I was like, no, I'm staying at like.
To crack on with it. So none of the other people you do with
none of the other women stayed. No, right. So they did the charity show, which was amazing. Did one other match with Tina the Christmas. I did Tina and Mitch against me and Drogo, a tag match. So yeah, it was just it's a way outside of like the normal day job where I can like really push myself to do stuff I just didn't expect to do.
Break from the norm, I think.
And it's completely different. So
it's worth mentioning as well that Bella had zero interest in wrestling prior to taking it up.
No, like remember
were you not a fan as a child?
No, like remember my brother watching it in like the 80s and 90s growing up and stuff, but yeah.
So it was a passing like interest at best. Probably not even.
Not even that.
So no. We met when we both started working together. Yeah. So this is 2001. So this is going back a good way. So we're Attitude Era now, and back then, sort of early 2000s. the office etiquette wasn't quite what it is now, and it wasn't uncommon to have like girly calendars on the wall and things like that.
We worked in IT. I was the only girl in the office, right? It was an office full of men, and there were calendars, and they put them behind me so that I didn't have to look at them, which wouldn't happen. But his calendar.
I had a WWF calendar.
Oh.
So next to my desk, I had like The Rock and Stone Cold.
Nice.
And Triple H, you know, oiled up, and everyone else had these, you know, girly calendars.
Yeah.
I like that. That's a great, do you think that's a great little I hate to use the term, but like a meet cute, you know what I mean? Like where you've got a nice meeting story. It must be weird for you two hearing how your parents met, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
even like, I mean, we were watching our wedding video back a little while ago, and I hadn't realised that. We were watching the speeches, and the best man was like, right, you know, there's not many stories, but he's got his own wrestling name.
He harbours a secret desire to be a professional wrestler. He has his own finishing move, his own entrance music, and I'm 25 at the time.
So this was years ago. Got no idea that this
20
was
years later, and I'm wrestling. Finally.
Going back to that though, because obviously we spoke on the last episode. Obviously, you know, you said you started with Jim and with Harry and whatnot. When you would obviously when your best man said that, did you ever think you'd ever actually have a match? Really, truthfully?
No. Like, I mean, it was. I didn't even know where to start. I didn't even think that. I thought that training to be a wrestler was something that
did in America.
You had to go. Yeah, you'd have to fly to America to learn how to do that, because nowhere in the UK will be doing that sort of thing. I mean, you know,
it's nice to know, because that was my mentality with getting into it at all, and obviously doing this and the announcing, which you know yourself, you've seen me work both. It's not work. It's fun. I can't call it work. And just even being able to do an announcing job, which I mean, I never want to be a wrestler. I've said this to you before. I am.
Everyone says that. Everyone says that.
Well, it's funny. Here's the one for you. Just a little tangent. When I messaged Paul the other week, who obviously runs Rapid Action, I messaged him and I'd said, "We still on for? Do you need me for Saturday?" And he was like, "Yeah, definitely. We need you. Come along." And he went, "Oh, and we'll get you ready for your big debut in the new year." And I messaged him back, "Debut? Just question mark. Nothing." And he went, "Yeah. When are you going to have your first match?" I says, "I'm 46-year-old, I'll die." And he went, "It'll be fine." I was like, "It won't be fine. You'll be carrying me out of there." But I know Ryan Roode, as I've always said, I've got a bucket list item. I think I told you this. I want to take Abel once. And Ryan Roode is getting it into his head. He wants to put us through a table. So we'll see if I doubt it'll ever happen, not because of him, because of me, you know, because I just can't. But no, it is funny you saying, obviously all those years ago, because you've been a wrestling fan as long as I've been a wrestling fan, you know, and all I ever wanted to do as a child was be involved in wrestling without ever being. It was funny, even as a kid, I never wanted to be a wrestler. I wanted to do the announcing and, you know, interviewing and this, that, and the other. Because you might have noticed, but I like to talk, and it's I'm pretty good at it if I do say so myself. And it was one of those things where I never thought I'm athletic enough to wrestle and this, that, and the other. And I boxed a bit when I was younger, but completely different thing, you know. At least when you box, anybody can get hit.
Funny enough, I had the same thought, that I was too short to be a wrestler, because growing up watching wrestling in the 80s and the 90s. Everybody was billed at 6'4" at least.
Well, Hulk Hogan apparently walked around at 6'7".
Yeah, 6'7", you know, and I'm barely cracking 6 foot, and I thought, no way, I'm not gonna. I'm too short to be wrestling. It was only in later years when you start seeing the smaller guys come through.
Yeah, but they're often the more talented guys. That's the thing.
And I remember thinking, like, Chris Jericho, he's my height. Like, I could be a wrestler if Chris Jericho can be a wrestler.
And look at the levels.
And then he felt so conscious about his height. He used to wear lifts in his shoes as well.
Did he really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Because he was self-conscious about his height.
Because he's what, about 6 foot?
He's just shy of 6 foot. I think just under 6 foot.
So he's not really towering over me then in that case. You say that's the thing. The other worst thing is I should know that I've met him, but not in a wrestling context. I met him at a Fozzy gig. Do you remember Legends? Remember Legends? Well, Legends became like a rock venue for a brief period before they closed it down, and Fozzy played Legends. And I was as close to him as I am to you now, and I was like, I'm getting, you know, I got a CD signed, a CD. I was like, I'm getting this here. I've met Chris Jericho, and I might be one of the few people that actually said he was a nice guy, because he was lovely to me. Other people that I've known said they've had really bad experiences meeting him, and I was like, well, I didn't see it because he was lovely. But no, I mean, as a couple of these, apologies, I'm a little bit, what's the word? uneducated on you as a family in terms of, but I like to do that because I prefer you tell me rather than me going and do, because I did a little bit of research into yourself and I know a bit about yourself and I'm obviously speaking to you, but have you worked much as a full unit or?
We've
Not-
never done. We've
not
never
as a
actually done
unit.
anything with all four of us, have
Is
we?
that the plan for the future though? Or would you
Well,
like to do
I
that
mean,
in
at the
future?
minute, you're wrestling heel.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't-
we're part of the same faction in MEW.
Right. Are you working heel at the moment though?
Yeah,
Are you? Oh,
yeah,
right,
yeah.
excellent.
So, and then I've also done tag matches with both of them on FTW.
Right.
So I've worked with both of them, and then I've worked with him as well. So I'm the only one who's worked with each of them.
Yeah.
So you actually are right.
Yeah.
So you're the standard of it. So you've worked for Chris at FTW, yeah? Yeah, right.
FTW and MEW.
I'm
are
hoping
my
to have
main
Chris on at some point. I spoke to him as well. I spoke to him at the first Rapid show when he was
Right.
there, and I spoke to him, obviously Mitch and that as well. You know, I want to have them on. But I've got. Do you know what? This is the one thing I will give myself a little bit of a prop here, which I don't like to do. I thought I was going to struggle to get anybody on this. I have more people than I have time for at the moment, and I love
Can't
that.
imagine.
So there's one thing about wrestlers is they like talking about themselves.
Yeah.
I don't mind that. I'm alright with that. I'm perfectly. It makes me I can get 2 hours out every couple of weeks. I mean, to be fair, I've not had any show out since our last one.
To be fair, you've had a lot going on.
Yeah, anybody who doesn't know, I've got a 3-week-old daughter. She finally turned up, and I have not had time. I nearly didn't do today because I'm that tired, but I thought, you know what, I want to get a show. I wanted to come and sit with you, to be honest. It was one of those things. I've been looking forward to this. And when I woke up at 4 o'clock this morning, it was the last thing from my mind. It really was. But no, I mean, just moving on, I mean, in terms of wrestling, as a family, do you ever sit down and watch any main current product? Like,
Oh, we watch all sorts. We watch FTW training matches
Sorry,
in the evening.
That's like a tradition. It's like as soon as, because Chris at FTW, he films all the training matches. Quite often
right.
after training, we'll have training matches. And particularly if the lads have had a training match, they'll be waiting for them to be uploaded to YouTube as soon as they're on. Like, right, we all need to sit down and watch the match and critique it.
So, you know, in terms of, sorry, forgive me ignorance here. You know, when you say a training match, do you work it like a proper match, like as if
We try
as
to,
if
yeah.
a proper audience?
I mean,
and this and the
it
other?
can be a little bit challenging because you don't have an audience, but
Yeah.
it is good practice to pretend there's an audience there
I
and
suppose
try
the
and
old
work
saying
them.
is, in practice makes perfect. And at the end of the day, if you're being critiqued by people who know what they're talking about, it's going to be beneficial, isn't it?
But it's a good opportunity to try stuff out, you know,
that's it,
moves and spots and things.
Stuff that works and
yeah,
stuff that doesn't
exactly,
work. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. Right, well, moving on, we'll go to yourself. Obviously, in terms of yourself, you've only, what did you say, you were 17?
Yeah.
So you're just a young lad, you know, and I'm not going to call you a pup or a kid or anything like that, you know. You're 17, you know, and I reckon you could probably kick me ass. So, but no, I'm being, in all seriousness though, I mean, in terms of wrestling, have you been a wrestling fan your whole life due to the fact that your parents are, or is this something, or at least one of your parents was, is this something that you've always wanted to do, or is it something that happened by mistake? Or
So for me, it was like I went through that phase that every kid goes through when they're young and like loving wrestling, and then I kind of like stopped watching at probably around like 10.
is that because it becomes a bit uncool?
Yeah, honestly,
I
yeah.
reckon, do you know why I say that? Because I guarantee your dad was the same, because I was the same. Because your mate stopped watching it and you go, I don't watch wrestling. I always did. I just never told anybody. It was like a secret.
We had
little-
that conversation about Men on a Mission, didn't we? That
true,
was
yes,
what got me out of wrestling.
That's right.
It's like, nope, I'm done.
There are things that happen in wrestling through periodically. You'll find, especially as you get a bit longer into it and a bit older, you'll find that things will come on. You'll go, yeah, I'm not watching this anymore. It's there's these little drop off points. But no, I mean, sorry, go back to what you were saying though.
So as well, I've done karate since I was like 5 years old.
Right.
So I've had that sort of like experience with like combat sports and stuff. And then he started, obviously, and I went to a show at FTW,
Right.
and I watched it, and I wasn't really too interested in it because I didn't know anyone there. Like, I was just in the audience, and it just didn't really interest me much.
Right.
But then he started, like, my dad started, and I seen him wrestle, and I was like, this is kind of cool, actually.
I like
and I
it.
want to try this. So, like, literally the next week, I went to my first training session.
Yeah.
And I did terribly in my first training session, but everyone does.
Were you
to be
nervous?
fair. Oh,
Were you
yeah.
nervous?
I was really nervous, yeah. Because, like, I was seeing, like, all these experienced, like, wrestlers there, and I was just this, like, kid. I think I started when I was, like, 14, so I was, like, terrified. But, I mean, yeah, it was... That's how I got into it from seeing him wrestle, and I,
I
just
like
thought
that.
that looks so cool. I want to do that.
Do you not think that's amazing though, what you've just said there? You started at 14, you have 3 years experience and you're 17 years old. There's a lot of people don't have 3 years experience and they're in their like 30s, 40s, whatever, you know what I mean? That's incredible. And I mean, what kind of style do you work? Truthfully, I haven't seen you wrestle, I'm not going to lie, I haven't, but I will check it out. But like I said before, I like to learn about you on camera because I think it makes for a more realistic show than me knowing everything you're going to say to me, you know what I mean? So what style do you work?
So because of my karate, I try to go for a style that really reflects that. Like my whole gimmick is basically like this karate kid kind of guy.
That's cool.
So I do a lot of like kicks and like striker stuff, but then I also mix in a few high flying moves.
Right.
Because I do a lot of like springboards and top rope moves and stuff. Because I'm like the skinny one. It's like I'm light. I'm really light, so I can like do all the jumps and flips.
You're not
going
to kill somebody if you come down.
yeah,
basically,
yeah.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, you know you say that though. I don't know how familiar you are with old wrestling, but you know who Bam Bam Bigelow was?
Yeah.
Bam Bam Bigelow used to be one of the greatest moonsaults, one of the top high flyers in the world. That guy legitimately weighed like 450 pounds. He was huge. And he used to, his moonsault was epic, wasn't it? It was really, really great. So it's funny because you do see these bigger guys occasionally, I mean, it's not often, but occasionally, doing these high flying moves. Just like, the Giant, Paul White, the Big Show.
Yeah.
Check out his early WCW work. That guy was doing top rope drop kicks.
I was told to stop it, wasn't he?
He was
Vince
told to
McMahon,
stop,
he came to WWE, Vince McMahon said, nah,
You don't
stop
work like
doing
that.
that.
You work
That's
like
not
a big
how
man.
yeah.
Well, WWE have a style of big man wrestlers. The Andre the Giant, plodding Undertaker type. The Undertaker's top rope moves were walk along the top rope and occasionally he did a clothesline from the top. That's it, exactly. That's what it's called, the old school move, yeah. And that was the staple of his repertoire. It was the only top rope move he did. The Undertaker's high flying move was that diving somersault clothesline thing he used to do, but otherwise they have this very melodic, plodding, big man style.
Yeah.
And then they signed Paul White, who was, as your dad said, was doing drop kicks and somersaults and moonsaults and this, that, and the other. And it was a case of, don't do that anymore. And as a result, though, the problem is, and Big Show himself admitted this, because Vince told him to stop working that style, he got really heavy. He got really, really heavy because he didn't have to be lean and slim for to do it. And that's the thing. But no, I love the high flying stuff. I mean, it's not something I liked as a younger man. It's not something I seek out. But I do. Anybody who can do that stuff is incredible because I think it just takes such unbelievable timing and ability, and I just have not got it. I could fall over my own feet standing up from this desk. I fell over the cable sitting down. So you know what I mean. It's one of those things. But no, I just think anybody who can do it. And I love watching your dad's style as well, which is obviously your dad's got a very, very explosive style, and I love that.
Physical.
That's the word I was looking for. By the way, Tim Strange. I didn't realise how big he was.
Oh.
My God, he is so tall. He stood next to me, and I'm not a tall guy. And he stood next to me, and I felt like a child.
Yeah.
He is just
Absolutely massive.
What a nice guy, though.
He
What
is.
a really, really nice guy. I'm hoping to get him on as well. I'm going to use using info to get him on. But no, I mean, in terms of your style, have you finding that's going over well with people? Are you?
Yeah. I mean, like some people probably struggle to understand what I'm going for, but then others are like come up to me and be like, "Oh, I love the way you move around the ring and stuff."
Oh, that's
So,
good.
I think, I mean, obviously I'm still developing it.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm still in terms of like wrestlers, I'm quite new still, so I'm still refining and developing my style every single time I train.
That's good, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, do you like the thing is as well, based on what you said? Obviously, I am gonna check out whatever matches I can find for you. Send me them if you want. Get your dad, send me them if you want, and I'll have a look. I'm always looking for something new to watch, and the modern product is very boring, so I would prefer to watch a lot of the indie stuff. But do you not find though that's quite a unique gimmick in the sense that there's not a lot of people doing that style, with heavy on kicks and things like that?
Yeah. I mean, I've seen like a few places, but that's really because I seek it out to try and like get inspiration.
Well, you get a lot of people who try and sort of ape the MMA stuff because MMA is really popular at the minute. So you get a lot of people who wear the MMA shorts and they do lots of
The
thigh
Brock
kicks.
Lesnar look in it.
Yeah, they do lots of leg kicks and the hard hitting, the strong style kind of stuff. But I think because you're more in the martial arts, you're
like
trying to
martial
incorporate
arts,
more of that. So it's a bit more like Speedball Mike Bailey, for example.
Right, okay,
that kind of style. So matching the martial arts with the sort of high flying stuff as well.
I like that though, because it's got to be, like I say, there's not a lot of people working that style, which is going to make you stand out, because if they want a particular type of match out of a person, you would fit that bill. Whereas somebody like, you know, who's just your average high flyer, like a lucha type, there's 1,000 of them. There's an entire country of them, you know, Mexico. It's their national sport practically, isn't it? You know what I mean? But no, I like that. I mean, it's one of those things. I think keep it up. Not that I've seen you wrestle. I hope it's. I know it'll be good. Right, moving on to yourself, Will. You're 15, you said, which is insane to think that you're even wanting to be a wrestler.
I'm the most experienced out of all of us
Yeah,
here.
Oh,
he started first.
He was the first blood.
Right, sorry, I didn't even realise that. Right. So how old were you when you started then?
10 or 11.
My God, right.
2021.
Do you know what's scary? I have a 10-year-old in 2 weeks. She's 10. I couldn't imagine even letting her. I'm so protective of her. You know what I mean? It's different when you've got girls, so you just like no. Got 3 daughters. Wrap them all up in bubble wrap and keep them all to one side. Well, obviously you have met me daughter. I owe you an apology. We were going to bring my little girl today, but my eldest has drama, and this is weirdly to have on camera, has drama exams today. So my better half had to take her to that. So next time, I will bring her and you can meet her, I promise. So there's an on-camera apology because I know I promised I'd bring her, but that's why she's not here. I'll show you some photos when we're finished now. But yes, sorry, go back to yourself. So what kind of style do you work and what are you into in terms of the ability that you have and where you think you're at, and are you happy with it?
Probably more of an all-rounder.
Right.
Do a bit of like power moves, like lifting people up.
Right.
I also do like top rope moves, like cross bodies.
Right, so you're a mix of you do the standard wrestling style, but you mix in the high flying stuff as well. See, now that's something I always gravitated towards because I always liked a guy who, you know, had the mix of the ability to do, you know, the fundamentals. Let's use that word, but then throw in the high flying stuff. You know, you had people like. Do you know what? I know he didn't do a lot of high flying stuff, but the likes of Kurt Hennig, Mr. Perfect, is my favourite wrestler of all time. Probably the greatest mat wrestler, arguably with Bret Hart, of all time. But he did have the ability to go up top if need be, and that was something he didn't do often, especially not in WCW, WWE, F as it was for him. Back when he was like in AWA and NWA and things like that, he did a lot more of that stuff because he worked as more of a plucky babyface rather than the heel he worked at later in his career. But I like that. So I have to ask, because you were so young, how on earth did you get into wrestling at that age?
So I love wrestling. I've always watched it since I was like really little. I watched a lot of it, much more than Thomas and my mum.
Drogo.
Drogo, I mean, yeah.
I'm Thomas.
See, that works. That works. It wasn't a full part. No, keep going, sorry.
Yeah. So I've always loved it, and then my dad tried to find a wrestling school.
Right.
So I forgot how it came up, but.
I think it's just the end of,
end
of COVID.
Everything was opening up at the end of COVID.
Yeah.
And you've always been at football, so he was a member of a football team, goalkeeper, so always throwing himself around.
So you're used to that. Or you were a keeper as well, yeah.
So I think we were just, I don't know, it's just one of those things where you're like, I wonder if you can learn to wrestle as a child as well, not like as an adult, like as a child.
It's like a lot of schools might not accept.
Yeah, it was just one of those weird Google situations where you're like, can you do this?
I wouldn't even know where to start.
And
Google.
I found FTW.
Did you
and that was
through Chris?
Yeah.
Oh,
so that he went first to the juniors,
and
then
so I took
he
it.
went,
I
and
got in touch with. Well, I asked you. I said, "Would you like to learn how to wrestle?" And he's like, "Yeah, sure."
A 10-year-old had to slap your hand off as well.
So I got in touch with Chris via their Facebook page and just said, you know, my son's really interested in joining. And he said, "Oh, we've got an open day coming up in a few weeks. Give me his details." So filled out the forms and everything, and took him along to the open day, and he loved it.
That's
He was hooked from the start.
So they do open days where people can go along and just get a feel for it, kind of.
Yeah, so every so often he'd run an open day, do a bit of a sort of recruitment drive, and then run an open day, and you know you'd get a little taster for everything. So you'd do a little bit of cardio, you know, warm yourself up, get in the ring, run the ropes, and learn how to take a bump.
But you, Jim, and Harry all did the same one, didn't you?
Well, yeah. So we, so obviously Will did that open day, got hooked, and this was in the junior class. And as I said last time, I would take him, and I think back then it was on a Saturday and a Sunday for juniors.
Yeah.
So he was going twice a week.
Right.
I'd sit and watch him do the juniors. And the stuff they would do, like you'd think, oh, well, they're just kids. They're not going to have them like doing mad stuff.
Yeah.
He was doing flip bumps, you know. So, flip bumps in the ring.
11 years old.
Yeah.
I'm not even certain I could do that now, never mind at 11.
I was
you know?
so jealous watching him. And I think, I wish I could do that, you know, if only I was 20 years younger, whatever. And
Well,
the adults
that's
would
always
come
been
in.
my mindset. If I was 20 years
But
younger,
that's-
I'd do it.
Yeah,
And that was, I think, after about 6 months of sitting in a drafty like sports hall watching him do all this training, I was like, I'm gonna try it. I want to try it.
Love it. Love it. Do you know, when going back to this obviously starting, you know, when I met you at the, what show was that? It was at the MLW show, wasn't it?
MPW, yeah.
Sorry, MPW. When I met you for the first time, Belle, when we were talking, and it was when you had said, obviously, you had no like prior interest, other than, you know, your brother watched it, as you say.
did it
I
and got
find it
hooked.
fantastic because I saw a promo of yours on, I want to say TikTok, maybe Instagram. After that, it came up in my feed, and I was like, "Yeah, you can tell you enjoy it." And
I
think
love
you were on
it.
holiday
I
at the
love
time,
it. Like
I think.
even, like I know when if I like start talking, because I'm really open. Like have a normal professional job as well, and really open and talk about what I do in wrestling there, and I can feel like my face
You
lighten
never
up
used
when
to. You used to keep it a secret.
I did at the
Every
start,
wrestling
but
fan's done that, man.
yeah, I probably did for a bit and thought like, what are people? Because I'm an older woman. It's really different. I'm thinking like, what are people going to think?
yeah.
You know, I get in the ring. You know,
I've actually watched
you know,
video footage of you working, and you're good.
yeah.
Well, in my own opinion, you're good anyway.
Yeah, I think you know, and conscious. How does it merge with a professional career? What are people going to think about me? And then actually thought, I don't really care. And there's part of it, you know, it's about being able to push yourself, you know, I've been outside of my comfort zone for 2.5 years. But
you love it, though?
but I absolutely love it. Like, I remember I did the first couple of shows, and I remember being a trainer and Chris saying like, look, you're going to have to learn how to lift, right? And I'm under 5 foot, right? And I probably sometimes like, I'm too old for this, you know, make an excuse of my age. And I'm like, how do I even start, right? You know, because this is so far out like of what I can do. So I think probably talk to you. I was in a gym, but I'd never done much with weights and stuff. And so looked at getting a PT, worked with a guy, great PT, based in Newcastle called PT James. So I worked with him for quite a while, and did a lot of weightlifting. And I remember working with Jess, who's, you know, a lot smaller than me, and really struggling to get her on my shoulders, and like being so happy when like I managed to get her up, but she's like the smallest person there. On my back. But then went from that to being able to like lift more and more people, and I've done it on a show before. It was Jack Garcia, and there was a part where I was going to get him up for a Samoan drop, and I saw this woman watching, and I thought, you don't think I'm going to be able to do this, right? And I got him up, and I kept him up long enough for it to like, you know, make a show of it, and then went back, and then a train, and I managed to get him on my shoulders.
You're a big dude, man.
So,
that's
about 102 kilograms.
Yep.
Well, let's put it in perspective.
Shoot,
so
102
to go
kilograms,
from
shoot.
like, how am I even gonna like manage to lift anybody, to know that I can get most of the men on
well,
my
put that
back?
in perspective. I'm not certain I could lift you on my shoulders. I'm fairly bigger than you, but I'm not certain I could lift you on my shoulders comfortably. Like, I wouldn't want to. I reckon I'd hurt you more than I'd hurt.
I think I did drop you the first time. There's a crash mat. It's not very far to fall.
That is
so.
impressive, though.
Yeah, that is one advantage when Bella gets you on her shoulders. You're not far off the ground.
I've got long to go.
But I mean, the first time I tried it a little while ago, and I felt like my legs were melting, and I was like, no, I can't do it. And then tried it again about maybe 3-4 months later, and I'm like,
Once
whoa,
your
like
strength
it's.
increased, but you hadn't realised.
I hadn't realised that like that
love
I'd
that.
built my legs up or whatever, and I could do it. So I'm like, yeah, I can.
No, I love that because I
Yeah.
mean this is the thing as well. You know, you're saying obviously, you know, without having a real background and interest in wrestling, to then go into it and hear you talking about it in such a
Oh,
passionate
but
way.
it meant I could watch like everything in like 2 years. So like
that's it.
all of
It's not
all
like
of the
you didn't have a lot to catch up on,
Yeah,
yeah.
well, like a lot of documentaries. When people say, "Have you seen this?" I'm like, "Yeah, we've watched a lot."
I love that. No, I love that because I mean this is the thing as well. This is obviously something I mentioned to yourself. the family aspect of this is something I think a lot of people don't realise, especially when it comes to wrestling. You know, you were saying yourself, if people look and you've hidden it from people and this, that and the other. Even just coming to do this with me, it took me years to get to this because I thought, well, nobody will be interested. As I said to you before there, I didn't think anybody would want to do it for a start. It was one of those things where I didn't push myself in the way that you perhaps did, you know, getting and doing the physical side of it, but in terms of actually coming on and just chatting to people, getting in the ring just to announce people to the ring was so daunting for me. You should have seen the state of me that first show, honestly. If it hadn't been for him and probably Josh, actually, Cavero, if it hadn't have been for them two, and Matty, Terry, if it hadn't have been for them, I would have been, I don't think I might have left. I was that although, just a little side note, which I don't know if I've told you, but I got announced to the ring on my first show with music. Hated that. Hated it. I came out the door, the side. If you ever check the footage, have a look. It's awful. I put my head down. I think I looked at 2 people. I had nobody in the crowd who knew me, so it was completely anonymous. And I went, all right, put my head down, and then walked to the ring, boiling hot in the face, redder than I've ever been in my life. Got in the ring. So to the point of the show we were at last week, I just went to Paul before, and I said, you're not announced me, I'll just get in the ring. It's like, I'll just be in from the start.
If you manage to get to one of the FTW shows,
I would like to.
have try and take the opportunity to speak to Adam Blackburn.
Right,
He's
okay.
there. So Adam is currently, he's an ex-ring announcer,
Right.
but he's currently operating as Jim Wilson's manager.
Oh, right, okay.
Heel manager. But he was a fantastic ring announcer. He stopped doing it because it was kind of taking over his life. He
Right.
has a small child who's really into football, and he's taking to football.
Right, okay.
He was struggling to sort of balance the
makes
two.
sense, yeah.
But fantastic ring announcer. He'll give you loads of tips
Perfect.
on like
Anything
ring
I can get,
announcing.
really.
It little things like he would have like sticky notes, like sticky labels. He would stick it to his hand and make notes on there, so he could just like check. So you can't tell.
Yeah.
You know.
See, that's my thing. At the minute, I've got to have cards in my hand because
Yeah.
I just can't remember every bit of information. I haven't done it enough to be familiar enough with it. You know?
But he gets the crowd going when he gets announced out right at the start of the show. He'll come out and he'll give high fives. Right, I want you to stamp your feet together. I want you to clap your hands, and that gets the crowd
So
engaged,
is there
and it
videos
gets
of
them.
him online of him working for FTW?
Oh, yeah.
then?
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
that'll be
yeah.
nice.
If you look at
Yeah.
anything, sort of prior to the last 6 months, I think it was probably about 6-7 months ago. He
Do you know the thing is, I've been to
stepped back.
FTW shows, I'll have seen him. There's no
Yeah.
question I'll have seen him. I just
You'll have seen him on other shows as well. He always wears a beanie. That's his
Oh, I know
kinda-
who you mean.
yeah.
Yes, of course I know who you mean. Right.
But yeah, he's announced a lot. He used to announce MPW and
Right. I'll have to
a lot of the
speak
show,
to him.
Prime and all of that.
Would he come on here?
I'm sure he would, yeah.
I'll get
He lives in Richmond in North Yorkshire, so he's
Oh,
a little bit of a
right.
trek
Might have
for
to do
him.
a phone in with him.
But,
I'll do a phone in.
If he's in the area, I'm sure he'd.
I'll give him a shout. I'd be interested to have a word. Right. Well, moving on. This is. I wanted to find out, your introductions and how it is wrestling as a family, and I think we know, and I think it seems to work for you as a dynamic. I think yourself, obviously. I still can't believe you're as young as you are and been doing that as long as you are. It's insane. Right. This is a little something. I know I did this with yourself, but I'm going to just start again if you don't mind. Favorite wrestler, favorite match. Doesn't have to include that wrestler.
Do you want to start at
Do you wanna
that
go that
end?
way, right?
We'll
We'll
go
go-
that end and work to me since
Well,
I've already done
favorite
this.
wrestler of all time and your favorite match that you have ever seen. And it doesn't have to be in a big one. It could be, local level, whatever.
Favourite wrestler at the moment, probably Bob Backlund.
Really? Wow, that is an unexpected one.
I
Wow.
like his moveset. and the
So
move
what
finish.
era though? Are you talking his second run with WWF or back when he was like a 7-year champion?
Yeah, probably Backlund.
Second run, I
His
think.
second run. With
When
Bret
he
Hart
was
and all
like
that.
when he was doing the
Oh,
crossface
yeah.
chicken wing.
When
that
he won
was-
the title from Bret Hart and
Yeah.
things like that, yeah.
So
Wow.
that's what we've been watching, some of those spots. The thing about Will is that he's got a very, and I think this is what makes him such an amazing wrestler, is he's got such a unique style. He doesn't copy people, like particularly a lot of people his age, they see a wrestler and they just want to carbon copy that wrestler.
Yeah, there's a
like
lot of
cookie
Jeff
cut
Hardy
that
clones
wrestler.
out there,
I'm going
I
to
think.
dress like them. I'm going to act in the ring like them. And Will's
just
not like
him.
that.
like that.
He's himself, and that's what I think makes him so special.
I love that. Bob
But
Backlund was not what I
he
was
takes
expecting at all.
exactly. He takes inspiration from people that you would never expect, like
Yeah.
Bob Backlund. Like he loves the crossface chicken wing and some of the
He
sort of
keeps putting me in that though, and it hurts.
the technical, legitimate wrestling moves that he does. So he's taking elements of
Yeah.
that, but he's also got high flying elements in there, and
I mean,
other.
his finisher is like you never see anyone.
Yeah,
do
like
it.
he does a springboard stunner off the middle
Oh, do you?
rope.
Yeah.
Are you
It's
seeing
good.
nobody do that?
Literally no one else.
See, that's great though,
Yeah.
because that's exactly what I'm saying to yourself as well. You two seem to have, I think you've both got something really good in you, in that the sense you're both quite unique in the way you present yourself, which is not usual. But Bob Backlund, do you not think Bob Backlund was a bit ahead of his time in the sense that a lot of wrestlers now are trying to incorporate like real grappling moves into their set to look, you know, like you have wrestlers like
It's the
Brock
rise of
Lesnar.
MMA, isn't it?
Well, this
People
is it.
want to
When the UFC hit the big
do like
time,
rear
it went,
naked
yeah,
chokes
yeah.
and
Well,
you
look
know,
at Brock Lesnar did the
forearm
Kimura
elbows
and
and
things
stuff.
like that,
Yeah.
you know, and you have people even doing hardware, you know, opening each other up with elbows.
And the Undertaker changed his style to be more
He
MMA
started
style.
wearing
Yeah.
gloves, the MMA,
Yeah.
the 4-ounce gloves, didn't he? I mean, this is the thing. I mean, I'll be honest with you. Years ago, I was massively into MMA. I trained Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu for years, and kickboxing for years, and it was one of those things. I never got particularly good at it, but it was a hell of a way to train. And you wouldn't think it looking at me now, but I was actually a lot fitter than I am now. So to see when, like you say, when Brock Lesnar came back in 2012, and he came back and he had the full MMA wearing the Death Guard, and is it Death Guard? Whatever the hell the short company was, and he wears the gloves, and then you've got all of that coming back, and it's just seeing. But honestly, Bob Backlund, he used to do some really because do you know the thing is as well, Bob Backlund I think falls into the same wrestling. What's the word? Like mindset as almost as like William Regal. A lot of people are very underappreciated, and not a lot of people appreciate their style because it isn't high flying. William Regal is one of my top 5 favorite wrestlers of all time.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely, the man is a genius. You know, the man, and that's the thing. Bob Backlund would fall into that for a lot of people. But, and please don't take this as an insult, at 15 years old, for a 15-year-old to say that is amazing, because I was expecting, not gonna lie, I thought you were gonna say Jeff Hardy. I really did.
He does like Jeff Hardy.
Everybody likes Jeff Hardy, he's great. But no, I mean, well, off the back of that then, does Backlund feature in your favourite match, or is that a completely different thing altogether?
Different. Favourite match is Rey Mysterio versus Eddie Guerrero on Halloween Havoc.
In the, where he wore the purple,
Yeah.
the Phantom get up. Oh, that's, yeah, it's an all-timer that. That's got to be top 10 matches of all time, easy, you know what I mean? That was a great match.
So
Great
I've
match.
got photographs of Will when he was maybe 5 or 6, dressed up as Rey Mysterio.
In the full purple gear.
Full
I've
gear.
always liked him because he was short, so I'm very short for my age.
That's my
I think
fault.
Because
You'll get nothing from me, I'm 5'9", don't worry about it.
it's like because he's short, like it just made me think I could actually do that,
Why not?
because
Yeah.
not all wrestlers are that short, but because he is, like it's a possibility that I could as well.
Rey Mysterio is one of the greatest of all time, and he's what, 5 foot?
5'4", I think.
5'4"?
Yeah,
So
but
there you
he
go.
owns it. Like I love the way he hits the ropes on the
Yeah.
bottom 2 ropes. And
Yeah.
He
and
used
Will
to do
used
that.
to do that. He doesn't do it anymore because he's too
As in
self-conscious
dropping
to
back
do.
into the
Yeah,
third-
yeah,
Yeah.
third
like
rope,
hitting the bottom 2 ropes.
I
And that
used
looks
to be, like,
awesome.
I used to be too short to hit the top rope, so I had to hit the bottom 2.
I'm not certain I could. I nearly fell over getting into the ring the other night. I caught my foot on the ring, on the second rope as I was getting in. And I am awful at getting in and out of a wrestling ring. I realised that. I've been in boxing rings my whole life and it just doesn't feel the same. So don't feel bad about that. I nearly fell on my face in front of a room full of people. So luckily the referee was there. So one thing you got right that night. No, I'm joking. You were fine, mate. I'm only kidding. No. But honestly, I love that though. You know, because that's again with you being. And I keep harking back to your age. Apologies, but you're so young and have a wrestler of that type of your favourite, and then a match that happened, what, 30 years before you were born, 20 odd years before you were born is insane. I love that. That's, again, you go back to, I think this is the fact of the love of wrestling. You said you've loved wrestling your whole life, so you've probably seen matches most wrestling fans, or a lot of modern wrestling fans, won't even know exist, never mind watching the matches. And I think that's great, but no, top choices, I've got to say, some of the best we've had on here, I have to say. So moving on to yourself, favourite wrestler, favourite
He
match?
was going to say Jeff Hardy. Now he's
I
quickly
can say
thinking
Jeff
now.
Hardy now. No, by all means, if he is your favourite, I was only kidding.
No, I think honestly my favourite is Ricky the Dragon Steamboat.
Good times.
His style was just incredible. Like,
Do you not think it was amazing he was still working like in his like mid to
Oh,
mid 50s and still
yeah,
working
when he
at a
was
mega
working in his
high level?
50s, I was
Time
like,
for us, yeah.
how is he managing that?
Oh no.
Like, it's just, I loved his style and the fact that he also leaned in a bit into like the martial arts gimmick.
He was on
and stuff
AEW
as
the
well.
other night.
Was he?
Was
He
he?
was, yeah. He wasn't. I don't think he was wrestling, but he made an appearance.
The guy must be, what, 70?
He's got to be 70. Easy, yeah. Probably older, to be honest, yeah.
I bet he's still in good shape.
He looked pretty healthy, yeah. He's got white hair now, but he looked pretty healthy. He looked healthier than I do. Let's put it that way. So yeah, Ricky Steamboat. Does he feature in your favourite match?
Yes,
or?
he does actually.
I think I know what you're going to say.
Yeah, Macho Man, Randy Savage versus Ricky the Dragon at WrestleMania 3.
There's
Such a good match.
There's an argument to be had. That's the greatest match at Mania ever.
Oh,
to be fair,
I think there's a good argument there.
I think there's an argument to be had. I mean, that match is I hesitate to use the word perfect because I think perfect implies there was nothing that could be improved on, and I don't agree with that. But at the same time, that's about as close as you could get. I mean, those two at their peak, putting on one hell of a match, and the right guy won as well.
Yeah.
The right guy won because I think they did the right thing there, you know, putting him over. But it was incredible. What Mania was that at again?
3, I
WrestleMania
think.
3.
Was
Yeah.
that 3? Was it?
Yeah.
And you don't think as well? I think it's sad that match is overshadowed by the main event,
By Hulk and Andre.
and it
yeah.
absolutely destroyed it in
Oh,
terms
it
of
was,
quality.
it was way better. Way better.
Yeah, because I mean the thing is that the main event of that event was obviously it was a one spot match.
Yeah.
You know, they were all leading to the slam, to
Yeah.
the finish. But I think, do you know as well? I haven't watched that Steamboat Savage match in so long. Yet I still remember it so vividly. Yet I can only tell you the finish from the Andre Hogan match because who cares about the rest?
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean? That's the thing.
I couldn't tell you who won that match.
In the
Dragon match. I've
remember?
seen the match, and I
Steamboat
remember
won.
it.
Steamboat,
And Steamboat
yeah.
won it.
Intercontinental
won the
Championship.
IC title. Because the thing is, the next year at Mania 4, Savage won the world title in the tournament. So they were moving Savage into the world title picture. Because obviously Hogan won the belt, retained the belt against Andre, and then they did that screwy finish with Earl and Dave Hebner, where who paid for the plastic surgery and all that rubbish. And then Andre sold the belt to DiBiase. This is where I get a little bit nerdy, by the way. And then they freed it up. And you know, the finish of that tournament was supposed to be DiBiase winning it legitimately in Mania 4, and they changed their minds. They moved away from it. But at the end of the day, Savage was a hell of a champion. But then again, it was all just leading to getting the belt back on Hogan at 5. So, but anyway, top choices as well. Again, I have to say, for the two youngest guests I've ever had, you've had some of the best answers to these questions. I have to say, this is fantastic. Everybody else needs to up their game. I kid, of course. It's all wonderful.
It's all part of the parenting, you see.
It is. It's all the right upbringing. You see, this is what you need. You need
Bring them up right with
parents.
proper wrestling education.
But there'll be
Retro
all
wrestling.
Yeah, there'll be all sorts on in the living room, and they'll appear and watch stuff, so they're probably exposed to more of the old stuff than
You see, my little girl
most
at the minute
kids.
is obsessed with Cody Rhodes. Absolutely obsessed. To the point, his intro, sometimes, just if I need it to be cheered up, I'll just put his intro on, and if she's in another room in the house, she'll come running in and go, whoa.
he's got a photo.
Will's got a selfie with Cody Rhodes.
Oh,
Yeah.
with Cody?
Yeah.
You met Cody? Oh, wow.
Yeah, and then he gave my phone to the wrong person and dropped it.
Oh,
It was
come on, Cody.
it was a few years ago. We were at a WWE show in Newcastle,
Right.
and we were quite near the front, and we were on the end of the row. We were maybe like 2 or 3 rows from the front, and as soon as the bell hit, all the kids would rush to the barrier at the front to try and like high five the wrestlers, and he was first up, straight to the barrier. And then Cody I think he won the first half main, and he stayed during the interval. He literally just stayed and went round the entire.
Oh, wow.
Like, just high fiving all the kids, taking photographs with them and stuff. So yeah, he comes running back and he's showing his phone. He's got this
That's
selfie
awesome.
with Cody.
Well, if he's come on again, I'll bring my daughter because she'll you'll make a day. But no, I mean, I've never seen. This is funny because I'm a big fan of Cody Rhodes, and I've never seen Cody wrestle in his American Nightmare gimmick for the WWE. I saw him indie shows when he did like WCPW and things like that. Saw him do all of that, but I've never seen him in his WWE guys. I did, however, see him wrestle as Stardust.
Nice.
Where I bought ringside tickets once, and he was on the show tagging with maybe his brother actually. It might have been, and he was in full, and you could say he just didn't want to be there. He was completely out of it. He just didn't want to be there. But I've got a great photo where he's 5 feet away from me, you know, but he's in that full purple and gold and all that crap, and he just looks miserable, poor guy. I was just like, and the thing is, that shows you how great of a talent he is to have around, because he worked a gimmick he hated, but he put everything into it. It's like his brother made Goldust work. Goldust shouldn't have worked. You know what I mean? It's an absolutely horrendous gimmick in paper. Yeah, Dustin Rhodes made that absolutely just smashed it. But no, on that note, that's honestly, you're putting me to shame here. I think we're a top show here so far. So, Bella, yourself, favourite wrestler, favourite match?
I'm coming to it late and like got loads to catch up on.
That's great though.
Yeah, I mean, watch a lot of indie wrestling. I watch a lot of women's wrestling just to try and get ideas, match plan structures, that kind of thing. I mean, people like Bailey, Charlotte Flair, others. I wouldn't say I've got a favourite match.
No. That's
But
great,
yeah,
because it means you've
still
watched a lot
just
of wrestling.
still watching a lot and learning a lot.
Yeah.
And
Do you know who I
Yeah.
think plans matches really well, and a lot of people are not saying because they're not watching the product? Tony Storm. I think Tony Storm in AEW, that gimmick she's working at the minute, that timeless gimmick, is funny as hell. It's fantastic. She's making it work. Another strange gimmick that perhaps shouldn't work, and she's making it work. But she structures her matches. I wish she had a little less blood. Not gonna lie, I think that not every match needs blood.
I agree.
And you know, I just different type of blood there, you know what I mean. But no, I mean what I mean is you know, for example, going off from Tony Storm, John Moxley steps foot in the ring, you know, the fans cheer a little bit too loud and his head bursts. You know, it's just not necessary. I think if a match, if blood progresses a match, then by all means have, and it, you know, it helps with the story. These guys get cut for the set. I mean, did you see the AEW Blood and Guts event from the weekend?
Is that the one where they slammed them onto a bed of nails?
It's
Oh.
the
It's
stupidest thing I've ever
horrible.
seen.
It's
the
ridiculous.
women's
That's
match.
just standard practice though in AEW, isn't it?
The women's match is one of the bloodiest matches I've seen in my life. Absolutely one of the bloodiest matches I've ever seen in my life. And I can't even remember the girl's name, but she looked like she had been murdered. I've never seen so much blood. It was unbelievable. But again, Blood and Guts was the name of the show, so you knew it was coming. And as you say, John Moxley just bleeds for the sake of it these days. But no, I mean, I like that though, what you're saying there, going back to what you're saying in terms of not having a favourite match, you just enjoy watching the wrestling. That is an unusual answer because everybody generally has this one match. I know myself, I have one match that always jumps out. I like Shawn Michaels versus The Undertaker from Mania 25. That's the match that always jumps out at me. It's the one, if I was going to show anybody who didn't like wrestling a match, that would be the match I would show them. But I like that. That's a great answer, that. So who's your favourite wrestler in general though? Who would you say stands out in terms of one particular talent?
I think Bailey stands
Just
out to
Bayley.
me. Yeah.
That's
I thought
not,
you were going to say
not a
Emerson
match.
Jane.
Well, on the indie scene, I've seen Emerson Jane wrestle.
Right.
On North, we saw her, and you know
I've
she
never
was.
seen her.
She was on Win last
Yeah.
yesterday.
And I've actually seen her a couple of times.
She
on
has
North.
an amazing like gear which looks
stands
like Buzz Lightyear.
Oh, fantastic. Really?
So it's like white and green.
Awesome,
But
awesome.
you mentioned it to me, didn't you? You said it looks like Buzz
It
Lightyear,
does.
and I was like, yeah,
But yeah, she's an incredible
I
wrestler.
like that.
she's amazing.
I
she,
mean-
she can go with anyone. You know,
Yeah.
Wow,
I've
right.
seen her wrestle like Leon Slater,
Right? So she does like
she
does
can-
Oh,
mixed,
Yeah, she
and she will go.
I liked. I tell you who I thought was really talented. Was it Scarlett who worked that first Rapid Action show?
Yeah,
I've wrestled
I know you
Scarlett,
have, yes, because you cut the promo on him, and yes, of course you did. Yes, God Almighty, I didn't even think. But I saw Scarlett. She wrestled. Who did she wrestle? It was a mixed match again. I can't even think who it was now.
It was Oliver Barrett. I
Oliver
think.
Barrett, that was it. And they were battering each other. It was great.
she was good to work with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I was chatting to her after the show, and she actually said she wrestles like it's a fight, as in make it look real. You know what I mean? And if it's not looking real, then don't do it. And I love that. You know what I mean? But no, she was really good. And I forget, I'm terrible with names. I'm really terrible with names. The two girls who were on the show the other night.
It's
All in white.
Lucy Cutter,
Lily
and
Winter.
Lily Winter.
Lily Winter. At Lily Winter, you talk about gear. Her entrance and the gear and everything was incredible because I didn't realise she was coming from behind me. So I was standing in the ring looking over at the other door, and obviously the women's locker room was over this side. And I turned around, she was there. I went, oh God! And I hadn't announced her because I hadn't seen her. And then I didn't get told, and then she appeared. But I loved her entrance. I thought she was really great.
Yeah, we've seen her at MEW before as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, they had a really good match as well.
Yeah.
They were a really good match. But no, that whole show was great. It was great. But no, I like that. I like that. So Bailey, hell of a shout. Can't go wrong. You know what I mean? She's arguably the best woman wrestler working today. I think. I would argue she's doing some of the. I don't like the split personality gimmick she's doing, but I think they're trying to drop that.
I like the hugger gimmick.
That was the best gimmick.
Yeah.
It was.
It was just cute. It was nice.
It was, and the kids loved it.
Kids loved it,
The young girls in the
I
crowd
imagine
loved
your
it.
daughter would have
Oh,
loved that.
I've
gimmick.
showed her bits of it. She was like, "Does she still do that?" I was like, "No." She's at the minute playing split personality lunatic kind of character, isn't she? You know what I mean? But I think I've asked you before, but I'm going to ask you again if you don't mind. Favourite match, favourite wrestler?
Yeah, so I've been thinking about this since the last time you asked me, but I haven't changed my mind because when I've been watching wrestling pretty much on and off for the last 30, 35 years. So I've seen so many people, so many matches, everything from old British style wrestling with giant haystacks and Big Daddy, all the way up to the modern product. And when I was a kid, my favourite wrestler was the Ultimate Warrior. Because I was like 10, 11 and he just looked cool with the tassels and everything like
he
that.
Was a cartoon character,
he just looked insane. And generally, for kids my age back then, you either liked Hulk Hogan or the Ultimate Warrior. Those were one or the other, and I was always Ultimate Warrior. And then when I got a bit older, I kind of disowned it because you realise that he wasn't actually a particularly good wrestler. He wasn't actually a particularly nice guy.
He was a bad person.
And it was almost embarrassing to admit that you liked the Ultimate Warrior. So for so many years, I denied ever liking the Ultimate Warrior. And there are other people, at the time who I love watching now, like Bret Hart, Kurt Hennig, people like that tremendous workers that I will consume any match that they're in. But as I've got older and I've kind of accepted who I am, and I've gone back and I'm owning it now. And
Why not?
I like the Ultimate Warrior. Yes, he wasn't a good wrestler. He wasn't a nice person, but he was an entertainer.
He's arguably the greatest gimmick of all
like,
time.
He captivated the crowd, and that match at WrestleMania 6 with Hogan.
Great.
Like
in Toronto.
That again, not the most technical match.
Didn't matter though, did it?
The point of a wrestling show is to cause emotion in the crowd, is to put on a show.
Indeed.
And it's what people remember.
Absolutely.
Everyone remembers that match.
The crowd was white hot from beginning to end.
Exactly.
Of that match.
Two people who can't really work, but look $1 million.
Yeah.
They were able to captivate that audience.
Slabs of meat slamming against each other for 20 minutes.
It was more
great.
the spectacle of it, wasn't
Well, yeah.
it? Rather than the wrestling.
Exactly right.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's it. And I mean, 1990 I was 10, 11 nearly. And I remember seeing that match for the first time probably about a year after it happened.
Same,
actually. Yeah. So because we didn't really get it live back then.
Yeah, so we was when I was a kid, we got Sky TV in sort of 1991, and that was when I first got exposed to wrestling. So I was 11.
My uncle
so it was a case of like catching up on the stuff that had come before.
Indeed.
So
And that had
you'd
been
watch what was happening right now, and then catching up on
Yeah.
old WrestleManias through video swapping and things like that.
We only had 6 at that back. Do you know what is? Here's one thing for age thing. Back then, you know how you get a pay-per-view a month, give or take now? Back then, you got 4. You got Royal Rumble, Mania, Survivor Series, and SummerSlam. And that was it. It's all you got. And they didn't come to England to tour. You never saw them in person. You might got one show every now and again. That's why in '92 when they did SummerSlam, it was huge.
Oh, yeah.
The guy who owns this company and the other sponsor, my best mate who owns this building, he went to SummerSlam in '92. He actually went to that.
That's amazing. I was just too. I mean, I was 12.
I was 12.
So I was just. Parents weren't going to take me all the way to London.
His nana took him. His nana took him. I remember he came back and I was just like. Oh. But the thing is as well, I don't know if you remember, but the broadcast cut off 4 matches because they were supposed to be for video only, and they weren't on the live broadcast. So you got like an hour advert break, and he came home and was like, "Oh, did you see this match?"
Oh, I've seen recordings where they cut to Richard Keys giving the talking about the football, the Premier League matches and coming up.
These 4 matches because there used to be a company called Silvervision who used to I don't even know if they still exist, but they used to release and distribute all the WWF cassettes as it was back then. And they had signed an exclusive deal that 4 of these matches were only going to be on the home video release. So this went out live, and then for an hour you just got no wrestling news. I mean, that says it was like you were just talking football. And I remember sitting there because I watched it with my uncle, and I was sitting at his house, and he's like, "Well, where's the show?" And he's like, "I'll be back on in a minute." Like an hour, you just got nothing, and it was.
But you didn't have Raw and SmackDown. I mean, I think Raw started in '93.
Yeah.
But before that, you had, I can't even remember what it was called. It was like Saturday.
You had Saturday Night's Main Event occasionally, and then you had like Superstars.
Superstars wrestling.
Superstars was pre-recorded.
But it was all jobber matches. So you never saw Hogan. Hogan was never on them. But then it was the main event guys wrestling a jobber.
That's it.
And they would just squash them, and all they'd be doing is trying to sort of plug the next
even Raw,
pay-per-view
when it started,
that was
like
coming.
that. Raw was only an hour, which, what is it now?
3
Really?
hours.
I think they've just put it back down to 2.
Is it just back
I
down to
think
2
they've
now,
just
is
put
it?
it back
Right.
down to
I think because it's on Netflix now, they can kind of just
Go
have
as
it
long as
however
they want,
long or
innit?
short as they
I've
want.
noticed
yeah.
that. Well, SmackDown a couple of weeks ago was like an hour and 20 minutes. And I was thinking that used to be a 2-3 hour show, but no, Raw used to be an hour, and as your dad said, it was all jobber matches even then. I think the first main event, here's one test my memory, of Raw was Undertaker versus Damien Demento. Remember him?
Oh yes.
Terrible gimmick.
Yeah.
Terrible. Google him.
I've
Google
never
him.
even heard
Exactly.
of
You
him
won't have
before.
done. He
Yeah,
had
Damien
do you know what?
Demento.
Unbelievable presentation. Had like this big,
Big
furry thing with spikes and stuff
things
on
on
it,
his
didn't he?
shoulders.
Yeah.
Bald head with a little bit of hair,
The
like
tassel thing. Yeah, that's right. Awful. Awful gimmick. Have no idea what he's doing with it. I'm guessing long retired, but yeah.
But on the
Awful.
topic of jobbers, I remember when the 1-2-3 kid beat Razor Ramon.
That was a
He
huge
was billed as a
storyline.
jobber.
Yep.
And he came in, and the first, obviously, you always expect the jobbers just to get squashed, and then he beat Razor Ramon.
With
It's
a
like, oh
moonsault.
my god, a jobber has just beaten
Well,
Razor
they used
Ramon.
it to turn Razor face as well, didn't they? They turned him face off the back because Razor Scott Hall. Obviously, we was a big heel at the time, and they used him to turn him face because Shawn Waltman, 1-2-3 kid, was, as your dad said, he'd come on, he'd been on week, but they built it up weeks and weeks where he used to just come out and get destroyed, and then he had this one match, and he was skinny, and back then you didn't have skinny guys. There was no skinny wrestlers unless they were getting, like Barry Horowitz getting smashed all over the place, and he came out and beat Razor Ramon, and he beat him with a flash moonsault. He basically caught him with a moonsault and pinned him, and then it was this big thing, and then week on week he was trying to get his revenge on the kid. And it made Shawn Waltman's career, made his career, and turned Razor face, and led to the fantastic ladder match with Michaels for the IC title at Mania 10, which is another great match. But no, I love that because, I mean, it's one of those things where you go off on old wrestling like that, and you talk and you think about it, and you go, you say, I've mentioned a wrestler, you yourselves, young lads, check him out, Damien Demento, the worst thing you'll ever see, possibly only beaten by, and here's another one which I guarantee you probably haven't seen.
Bastion Booger.
No, God no. He was a one. And
I have heard of him.
he had two gimmicks. He's a guy called Mike Shaw, and he wrestled as a single match as Friar Ferguson, and they had one match as a character, and he used to come out in a full, Robin Hood Friar Tuck, full monk outfit. And then a few weeks later, he was repackaged as Bastion Booger, who was, because he was fat, eat loads of food like a pig.
It was disgusting.
I've seen videos of it. It looked horrendous.
Yes. Well, no, the other one is Fantasia, I think he's called, and he was a magician.
Never heard of it.
Exactly.
Was that
And do you know how he won-
WCW?
No, WWE.
Really?
He won his match by pulling his opponent's kecks out from his costume, from his wrestling gear. That's how he won his match. He rolled him up, I think, from the back of that. Like instead of pants.
Don't let Harry brag here.
Do you know what?
He's gonna want to
watch this.
I know.
All the stuff.
Harry,
he's a devoted
no,
fan. I love
we're
it.
not doing that.
I mean, honestly, come on my show. Actually, while we've mentioned Harry, I'm planning on putting a show on, if I can, May, June next year, maybe May. One of you two, I'd love to work it, because I would love to do. Harry wants to debut a new character. Now, I'm not going to say what it is, but do you remember what he said?
I know what
yeah,
it
we'll
is,
say
yeah.
what he
I
said.
think I know what it is.
Yeah, you probably know. I'll tell you off camera. And I want to have him defend that little paper belt he made. Would one of you two do it?
Oh, yeah, easily.
One
yeah.
of you. You can both do it if you want. I'll put you in a triple threat with him.
Hell yeah, that's
all
right.
right.
Yeah, that would be brilliant. I love working with him. So.
Well, there you go. And I think he'd love to do it as well, because I even said to him at the time, I was like, I'm going to have you defend this, because we got him to pose. Obviously, your dad had his belt, Jim had his belt, and then he had this little paper belt, and I even said to him, I was like, can I have that? So I have it. I do have it. And it's safe, and it's flat, and it's looked after. But I want to have him defend it. I'm going to have him come to the ring like it's, the big gold. Because he's got a great idea for a character, a time-travelling character, no less. And honestly, it is... I don't want to say it on camera because I don't want to spoil it, because it's fantastic. And he mentioned it to me the last time he was on, and it's legitimately brilliant. Legitimately brilliant, and I can't wait to see it in practice. So hopefully... And he did say he wanted to debut at that show as well. So...
Yeah,
keep your promises, but yeah,
we'd be massively up for that.
Right, I'll put you in a triple threat with them. That would be
Great,
brilliant.
yeah.
And you'll be winning a. If I do decide to put one of these over, it's a cardboard belt with honourable mention written. that he made that.
I love that.
That he
That's
made
brilliant.
himself that morning. He really did. He came on and said, I was like, because obviously I had been messaging your dad and Jim and Harry, and I had said, can you bring your belts? And he was like, what belt? Your dad was like, oh, never mind. He did this, that, and the other. So he came on with this, and I couldn't believe he walked in with both. So we had it on. Have you seen the episode?
Yeah.
It's honestly, I was so pleased that he fetched it. And he actually, I was like, did your kids make that? He said, no, I made it myself. He was like, yeah. So yes, I mean, I would absolutely do that. But in terms of, speaking of shows that I want to put on, this leads in lovely where I'm going. What have you got upcoming?
Do you want to? You get the most. So.
Well, I should have been wrestling today.
I knew that. Yes, I knew that.
There was a show booked in Sunderland for MPW.
It's been put back next
It's
year.
been put back to March. So I think my next show isn't until December the 13th, which is
Right.
FTW.
FTW.
Yeah, so I'm defending my heavyweight title against Nikki.
All right. Oh yeah. So where is that?
That is at the, I was about to say the Innisfree, so
The
the Innisfree
Jubilee.
is the Jubilee Club.
Right. There you go,
It's at the
Sharon.
Jubilee Club.
Jubilee and Walker.
Yeah.
Tickets will be
So,
available.
Nicholas Gray
Tickets
defending the
available
title.
now? Or
Yeah, they're there.
available.
So
Check it out,
he was
FTW.
a nasty boy. He attacked Will
Oh no.
Yeah.
at the last show in the gauntlet. Will came in, was absolutely wiping the floor, and then Nicholas came in from nowhere, attacked him from behind, and then threw him out the ring, took him backstage, and I had to run in and rescue him. And he challenged me to a match at the next show. So
Fantastic. Do you like doing stuff like that?
Yeah, I was dressed up as my dad fully there as well.
it was a Halloween
Oh, of course.
show.
Man. I
So
couldn't make that show.
yeah, everybody
I
was.
came out with a little toy belt as well.
Awesome.
He came out with like
Did
a
you make it yourself?
wig and a beard.
Yeah, wig and everything.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
He had like the best 2.5
Oh,
minutes.
yeah.
But again, like him being smaller, nobody expects him to be like lifting
That's
adult
great, though. I love
men.
that, like,
But
you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, he's quite
If
freakishly strong.
if it's Scott Plitt who's on your next show,
Yeah.
he gave him a Samoan drop, and you'll see Scott Plitt's bigger than me.
Oh right.
Yeah.
Wow. Is that the kid coming on with?
think it would
That's
be.
probably who's going to come on
Yeah.
with Fahrenheit.
That's the thing. I have another show planned for later today, and because I'm so tired and woefully underprepared, I don't know who's coming on. So check that one out. That should be interesting.
They're both fantastic wrestlers.
Yeah,
Well, the kid Fahrenheit, he's a really lovely lad. I only met him at that the show that I attended with my daughter, and I just approached him and asked him. It was supposed to be last week. No, sorry, the week before last. But the way things have been, I haven't been able to do anything. So thank you all for sticking to the commitment, by the way, because honestly, I hate cancelling on you. It was impossible.
Not,
all right,
not
we've
a
been
problem.
there.
Yeah, we totally
Do you know,
understand.
That is the one good thing about you being parents. At least he's good sitting there going, what a dickhead. You know?
No, we know what it's
We
like.
get it, you know what I mean? But no, I love that. So what about yourself? Have you got anything
Sorry.
coming up? No,
No, I'm recovering, just about recovering from injury. So yeah,
Still going,
Just-
getting back up into it.
yeah, just waiting until my leg's better.
Oh, that's that. To be honest, I think that's probably best because you don't want to be crippled, as it were. You know.
No, I think I'm nearly there.
Dodgy knee. My whole life, practically, I sympathise. You've got to be right, especially with
Yeah.
what you do. I mean, people. I've mentioned this when I've had in the past shows. I've mentioned to people, I think people look down on wrestling with a bit of scorn, a bit of derogatory look to it, in the sense that it's fake and this that, and the other. And the one question every wrestler and wrestling fan has probably had is, "You do know it's fake?" It's, "No, I didn't."
I'm the fittest I've ever been, like the strongest I've ever been, and also the most often injured.
Well, there you go. And there you go. Everybody
It
that
all
thinks-
just part of
anybody that
it.
thinks wrestling is fake. It's not fake. Predetermined. You can't fake gravity, as Jim Ross once said. You know what I mean? So there you go. But no, how about yourself? Have you got anything coming?
So, I mean, me and him have a training match today, but that's like on just a trainee show, so that'll be fun. But I've got my next like proper show match is the same as my dad in December,
Right.
against two guys called Brennan and Sawyer.
Right.
So they're two like big guys, and they're challenging us for our tag team championships.
Fantastic. Right.
So that should be a really, really
Is that
decent
the
match.
December 13th show?
Yes, that is, yeah.
I'll see if I can get along to that. It would be
Yeah.
nice to see if I could get along to
That's
see it.
me and Barrett Burns, who's my tag partner.
Right.
Yeah, defending our belts because we're part of like a faction called the Foundation,
Awesome.
so which is me, Barrett Burns, Jesse Quinn, and Jack Garcia,
Right.
which are all fantastic wrestlers. But like,
Well, Jack is somebody I'm planning on reaching out to as well. Honestly, I've got a list. of people who want to come on and a list of people who I haven't yet spoken to, I hope want to come on. But the good thing is they should keep the show going for the foreseeable future. And I mean, next week I've got, following a hardcore match they're having, I have Anarchy Inc. and Reform both on, and they're having a hardcore match on the Saturday, and I've got them all on the Sunday, so God knows what state they're not up in next week, so that should be a one to check out. That should be one for the books. I would imagine there's a lot more swearing in that one than there has been in this one, which is good, because the thing is as well, you know, when I'm on with people who swear a lot, I end up swearing a lot. So you watch some of my shows and I'm dead well spoken and dead polite, and the other one I'm like, it's like, yeah, stop that now, because that doesn't fly. Right, but that's great. And yourself, are you anything coming up? Are you still just training, or?
I think in February. Is it?
Yeah, so there's a Rumble in
Okay.
February, so I think you'll be in that. But yeah, I mean,
Many people involved in that?
It's apparently 30.
Oh, they're doing a full scale.
I think
Wow,
most
right?
of us are involved. I
Yeah.
don't know if you two are, but
well, it's for
am
I
as well.
believe that the outcome of the Rumble is a #1 contender spot for my belt, so I'm not
You
going to
are-
be in it.
Yeah,
You're not being
unless you're trying to wrestle yourself.
Yeah,
Hey,
and
tell you what, they've done that angle before where they put, was it Brock Lesnar was in and he didn't, you know, and obviously I know it was Drew McIntyre ended up beating him, but they've done that before. But I mean, how do you find, not a dig, I'm allowed to say this, how do you find matches where you've got to go over the top rope where you are perhaps a little bit smaller? How is it? Is it
Usually I get people to pick me up and
launch
throw me
you?
over the top rope.
Right, right.
Either if I have to go over, I usually step on the bottom rope first.
Right.
So,
Why not? But if you can do it and make it look convincing, then why not? You know what I mean? By the way, that wasn't a dig. I'm not very tall myself. I can trust me. But no, it's just because I know myself getting in the ring, even just to do the announcing job, even just getting over the second rope was kind of like, oh, I think I'm tall enough for this kind of thing. You know what I mean? It was like I haven't got the leg space, and I stepped over, and a few times I was kind of like trying not to catch my foot, and I ended up doing it once. So going over the top rope to me would be, I'll be honest with you, I think it would be an impossibility. I'm not certain I could do it, you know, or at least not without hurting myself, you know what I mean? So I like that, but I've never, do you know, there's something, I've never attended in person a Royal Rumble or a Battle Royal. I've never seen one in person. So you have to let me know, because if I can get along, I'd love to see that. That would be great. I'd love to do that.
There's a lot of indie shows like to finish on a Royal Rumble. Yeah,
Right.
see, particularly if there's not that many, if it's not a big one.
Yeah.
Like we've done a few like gala shows. So you'll have maybe like 6 or 7 people working the show. So you'll have some singles matches, then they'll pair them up and have tag matches, and then you finish on a Rumble. So you're working
You work like
3 matches.
Yeah.
We did.
Outside as well, like the boiling heat.
We did one in Huddersfield this summer, and it was 30 degrees outside.
Oh my God.
So
Boiling.
Brandon Prince was on that one, and Jim Wilson was
Right.
on that, and I think
I
you were
was
reffing.
for that one, yeah.
And like a heat stroke. It was horrible.
I couldn't imagine. That's the thing, at least when you're indoors, you might get a certain degree of aircon or whatever, you know, something to keep you a bit cooler. But I couldn't image working outside.
We all went and sat in my car afterwards. I've got a Tesla, so I could put the aircon on and just run it constantly. So we put the aircon on, then we all just went and sat in my car and
Fantastic.
cool off after the
I would have
match.
done the same. I don't blame you. My God, I couldn't. I mean, I've seen footage of, I don't know where it was, but Matty Mayhem working an outdoor match, and it looked boiling hot then as well. And it's just like
I mean,
couldn't-
it's not as bad as rain.
no, I suppose you'd rather the heat than the rain.
It's worse for me as well because they're on fields and I've got really bad hay fever.
Oh,
So like
God.
the day afterwards, I got really sick
Not
because like I was
surprised,
having
yeah.
like breathing problems stuff because of like how much
The pollen
pollen I'd
killing you.
inhaled.
Aye.
Like I was just oh god.
I get hay
sorry.
fever occasionally, so I can sympathise. I don't think mine doesn't sound as serious as that, like, but yeah, I don't envy you there. But I mean, I just working as you said, you know, you just made a good point there. Have you ever worked a match in the rain, like extreme weather?
No,
You've
avoided
been- you've
the
been lucky,
extreme
haven't you?
heat, but not extreme rain. I've been
Right.
quite fortunate.
Couldn't imagine. You'd be slipping
there was
all over
loads
the
of
place.
rules, wasn't there, for one? If
So the gala
Is it
shows
rained?
I've wrestled this year were for a company called W3L.
Right.
They're a Scottish company, and they sent us a like a list of rules, and it's like if it starts to rain, just grab a hold, don't run the ropes, don't do any lifting moves.
Right.
It's all for like health and safety. So
Well, the
you
cameras
know.
would get I can imagine they were quite slippery.
Yeah,
And the
because you've
ropes,
got you've got foam underneath the canvas,
Oh, yeah.
so that's going to quickly fill with
God,
water.
before that,
And if
yeah,
it gets
yeah.
really, obviously you can't wrestle if it gets really
No.
bad. But yeah, you risk wrecking all the foam.
It's fair enough. Well, I tell you what, you know, I got in the ring the other day, and that ring was really, really padded. It felt very strange underfoot. So I was thinking, how do you run? How do you? And that was just me walking, and I had these on. You know,
Every ring is different. Some use like what we call like jigsaw mats.
Right.
So you've probably
I've
like
seen
seen them
them,
in
yeah,
martial
yeah,
arts
yeah,
places.
yeah.
Use that, and then a few layers of foam, like so you don't
Right.
get so much sort of sinking.
Right.
There's a company I've worked for in Wales called Union Wrestling, and he's very traditional, and he doesn't like the look when your foot sinks into the
That's
mat.
what it was like
So he
walking
does. You get one layer of foam. So you got the boards, one layer of foam, and that's it.
Oh my God.
He did once try it apparently without the foam, so just boards, canvas.
Oh no.
And the rest was like no. But you get one layer of foam, and
What sort of thickness are you talking like that?
don't like
Yeah.
that much foam.
Oh my God.
And then it's boards, and then it's steel.
Ow. Yeah. Ow.
Makes a great sound though.
It would, yeah, that's the thing. Do you know that there is just, you know, when you say things, it makes you think. You ever watch like old WCW matches compared to like old WWF matches? WCW ring always sounded very, very loud. I don't know if it was just the way it was mic'd, or if, you know, going back to the way it was perhaps assembled. And I always wondered about that, because you obviously say there's different constructions on rings, and I always remember watching WCW matches thinking, God, the ring just doesn't sound the same. And I don't know, I won't just make this thing based on what you're saying.
So a lot of rings that we use on indie shows are split beam. So
right,
you'll
okay.
have seen the
I
ring,
saw the
Mark's
set.
ring,
Yeah,
when
yeah,
it gets
of
broken
course.
down, it's in sort of multiple pieces. The rings that WWE and AEW and the bigger companies tend to use are like full beam.
Right.
You know, they'll have, and they're 20-foot rings, so they'll have big 20-foot beams. But obviously, unless you drive an Arctic, you can't really store 20-foot beams.
That's a fair point. So it's going to
uh,
feel different. And
Yeah,
sound
it is.
different,
It is different. Like the split beams need a spring in the middle as well, because
Right.
you need to be able
So
to
they've got
take
a
that.
big
But
give to them.
a full beam doesn't have a spring.
Oh God! See, this is the thing I never knew.
But you get a decent sort of sound bounce
I
from
feel
a
like
from
a full beam is honestly softer than a one with a spring.
It depends.
I
It
think
can
is.
honestly depend one ring to the other, and how it's sort of been held together.
Yeah, I like that because that's different. Do you know, you're just saying there in terms of how a ring feels. I'm going to ask you a question off the back of that. With you two being younger, have you, in your very young careers, ever taken a bump that you really think, God, I wish I hadn't done that?
The only one that comes to mind, and this is probably the only bump I've ever actually like, where I've been like, God, that hurt, was him. We used to,
That'd be your fault.
we used to wrestle in training on this 6-sided ring,
Right.
and it was awful. It had like wooden boards and these like really thick foam mats, but they weren't soft. It was like hard foam.
All right, okay.
And that's all there
Rubber.
was.
There's a big
It was
black
like
rubber mat.
Like an old PE type mat like you had at school type thing.
kind of.
Not firmer than that.
It was
Oh,
it was
They were like
It
thick,
was
quite
thick
hard.
rubber. No, about that thick, but
Especially,
it was
yeah.
quite hard. And when it was cold,
They were
Oh,
like
God.
like
literally
when we
Yeah.
used to
woods.
train in winter, and they were solid.
But
God.
when I first bumped on a softer ring, I was like, wow, this is
a lot
like a
nicer.
bed.
So we were doing a training seminar with this guy called Nico Narciso, and I was having a match with him, and he gave me a fall-away slam,
Right.
and he chucked me far, and I just remember like landing, and I was like, oh God, that hurt so much.
Yeah, knocked the
Like
wind out of you.
knocked all the wind out of me. Like my back was aching and throbbing, and I was just like, give me a minute, whilst I was just lying up and looking up at him.
Get
And
me in a
he-
rest hold kind
He
of
just,
thing.
he just
yeah.
took the ref off to the side, and I was just lying there like I was dead.
At least you have somebody in the room with you who's intuitive to know, well, perhaps you need a sec just
Oh,
to get
yeah.
yourself together, you know what I mean?
I remember you giving me a spine buster at training onto a crash mat, and
And they're quite a bit thicker on there. decent
I
crash
felt like I
mat,
went through the thing. That killed.
Do you know, I haven't
Give
been-
me a reputation here.
you seem really safe in the ring. You just go home and take it out on your hand. I'm joking, I'm kidding, of course, I kid. But no, I mean, that's the thing. I haven't been on a crash mat in years, and I remember them. They do give quite a bit, so you don't perhaps get. They look like they're going to give you.
Yeah,
lot
so
of
this is a
impact,
crash.
like-
So this is the crash mat was in the ring.
I know what you mean. Yeah,
which
when they do like I've seen
would
that before,
do when we're practicing stuff. But yeah, I felt like I went through it.
So there's a bump you perhaps wish you hadn't taken. Yeah. So what about yourself? Have you anything you'd remember and you think, God, I wish I hadn't done that?
The only one I can remember is I took a spine buster. My dad.
Oh, you're making this up now.
You're going 3 for 3. Yeah, you really are.
Yeah,
I
it
like
was on
it.
the old 6-sided ring, so it was in
Right.
winter, rock solid, so I just got winded.
I can imagine.
I don't think it was more the move, I think it was more just landing on the solid mat.
Yeah. Can I ask you, just you've mentioned it a couple of times there, and it wasn't something I thought we'd be talking about. How is it working in a 6-sided ring compared to a 4-sided ring? Because I used to watch TNA back when they had the, I don't even know if they still do this 6-sided, or is it back to the 4?
No, they went back to the 4.
They're back to 4.
Back, yeah.
I think a 6-sided ring was just a logistics nightmare. It looks good.
It does look cool. It looks unlike anything else.
It was unique.
Yeah,
and for a while, for Full Tilt Wrestling FTW, it was what made FTW stand out, unique, because they were the only company working a 6-sided ring.
I remember seeing a few shows where they had it.
But by the time we started trading in it, it'd seen better days.
Right.
It was a very noisy ring. It squeaked a lot because there was a
very
lot of parts that had to sort of join together.
Turnbuckles for a start.
And it was quite stiff ring, as we've talked about as well. It was weird because we all learnt to wrestle in a 6-sided ring and then started wrestling shows in a 4-sided.
That was the throwing you off.
And one of the challenges I found was it was very easy to hit the ropes in a 6-sided because wherever you turned, there was ropes, and you could turn, run, hit the ropes.
Yeah.
You didn't have to think as much about ring positioning.
Right.
When you switch to a 4-sided, you've only got really 2 options.
Yeah, that makes sense. No, that makes sense.
So you've got to be a little bit more.
Would you prefer it, or would you prefer a 4-sided?
So
Or do
I
each
prefer.
have their benefits?
Yeah, I think had we had a brand new 6-sided ring that was
like TNA style kind of thing,
then it would have been quite cool. But I think having the opportunity to wrestle in both is pretty.
At least you can say you've done that, because the thing is, as you said, not a lot of companies run. I don't know if any company runs a 6-sided now. The FTW, I take it, don't anymore, do they?
Yeah,
No, we've still got it.
We've
but
still
we
got
don't
it in the
use
storage unit, but we
They don't run the shows on it
We
anymore.
don't use
No,
it.
Well,
we
we
don't train
didn't.
in
The
it.
thing was, we stopped using it on shows as well because more the logistics of we'd have to get to Universal Martial Arts, get a van, load it into the van, drive to the venue, put the ring up. At the end of the show, take the ring down, put it in the van,
That's a
drive
lot of
back
time.
to
That's a lot.
with some volunteers, unload it in. I think when they used to do that, we weren't getting finished till like 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning.
It's a long
When
day
you've
just
wrestled
doing
as well.
doing the setup, the show, getting the ring down, clearing up is long enough.
Well, you know when I did the first Rapid Action show, obviously it was in a smaller venue, and I got there, I was sat nervous, I got there, the show didn't kick off till 7 o'clock, I got there at 3 o'clock. And I just sat and watched them set up the ring and filmed a few little skits, little vignettes myself, and this, that, and the other, and did a few notes and this, that, and the other. And I watched them set that ring up, and it takes ages. Yeah. I didn't realise how long a ring takes to set up. I'd never seen a ring set up in my life. And I watched them, and I just sat for about an hour, just going.
I remember the first time I saw one come down, and it must have been the end of a show, watching Thomas probably, and it starts coming down, and at the time I'm not training or anything, and I just thought like, oh my god, is that it? Well, that's all, just a bit of foam, bit of wood, and then look where we are now.
I think some people think it's like a trampoline.
No.
The amount of people think that. Well, I watched Mark and Bruce set up the ring amongst others. I think Mitch was there as well, and I watched them all, and I went over and seen them every now and again. I'd be chatting with them and this, that, and the other. And as you say, the amount that goes into it, but then you, on the other side of it, you look at it and go, it's really not what I thought it was going to be. It's completely hollow, and then, well, not hollow, but there's like a few supports, but not really much. One thing I will say, they take it down a lot quicker than they put it up. A lot quicker. Because I couldn't hang around the other night because we had the baby. And it was half down by the time I left. And it was only in like 10 minutes or something after the end of the show, they'd already started getting it down.
It's a lot quicker to break it down and put it up because you don't have to sort of tighten the ropes and
of course,
tighten all your ratchets and stuff. You just pop the ratchets.
At that show, didn't you say they weren't loading it into the van?
At the last Rapid Action, we were just putting. I think we were just putting it into a back room, and then I think Mark and Jane were picking it up.
So it wasn't
on
going
Monday.
away that night. That makes sense.
But it's still like you either load it into the van or you load it into
a lot of gear though, isn't
cupboard.
it? It is a lot of stuff.
A lot of different parts.
Yeah, that's the thing. Right, what I like to end on usually is just quickly, not quickly, you know, as long as you take as long as you want. There is no time limit. Any wrestling stories you want to share, like daft little anecdotes, anything you want to share just before we finish, and then we'll wrap it up. Stories of on the road.
You must have some. You've
I'm
been
put
all
on the
over
spot. I
place.
can't.
Well, why don't we start youngest first, and we'll go, because the thing is, your memory should be better than all of ours. You're young, it's fresh, it's new. Any stories, from training, or any daft match stories you've had? Anything where you've been asked to do something that perhaps you thought wasn't the best, and maybe try to change it for the better, or?
I remember one time we were doing a seminar with Amir Jordan,
Right.
and I had to run a 5-minute match with a wrestler called Nico, like just calling it in the ring.
Oh God, right.
So
No pre-planned spots or
no
anything?
pre-planned spots or anything. It was
Wow.
just talking
But it
in
was
the ring.
building up to
It
the
was built 'cause
stunner,
when
wasn't
we
it?
were doing it, we had to create a story for the match,
Right.
like in the ring while doing it. So
Wow.
we just had to come up with something. I think eventually we came up with like trying to take each other's shirts off. So it just had to be
Yeah, just silly.
No, but why not? We can sell the match
Yeah,
on it. Why
so-
not? That's great.
Yeah, and then eventually I pulled the shirt off after 6 minutes just wrestling.
Love it. So you just did that on the fly. No, God Almighty, I couldn't even imagine. You know, this is the other side of when I was saying to you before there about the scorn that people sometimes throw in wrestling. You made that up. You were a young lad. You made that up with another person in the ring, and told a story and still managed to get 6 minutes. A lot of people would probably go and just freeze. You know, they wouldn't come up with anything. I can talk, but I'm not necessarily perhaps the quickest thinker when it comes to thinking on my feet, as it were. You know what I mean? That's really impressive, because I don't know a lot of people who could do that and could do that convincingly. I know I'm not certain I could. Like I say, I know I'll never be taking any bumps like that anyway. There's no danger. I might let Ryan Rood put us through a table, but that'll probably be another year at least before I even get the confidence up to do that. But what about yourself? Anything?
The only thing I can think of is, like, this is like part of being like family as well. When I had a tag match against them two with my tag partner. Is it like August this year? When was the tag tournament? Was it,
It wasn't
before?
August, because
It's a little while ago.
It was before August.
So
Right,
this was
Early this year.
this was a
Yeah.
show match.
So
Right,
yeah,
okay.
so we were having a show match. It was like a tag tournament thing for the tag belts. This was before I had the belt.
Right.
And round 2 was me and Barrett against them two. And one of the spots in the match was my mum gave me a chop, and I went to give her a chop back, and she just went like, "Stop! How dare you try and hit
Oh,
your
that
mother?"
was so stupid.
And then she sent me to the corner of the ring and said, "Go to the naughty corner."
And did you do it?
Yeah.
Awesome.
And then
was-
she's like, "Turn
I love
around!
that.
Don't look at me."
It was so stupid. That was all you.
I wanted you to spank him.
Do you know what though?
Put him over your knee and give him a...
I love that, because you've just kind of made me think there as well, because I was going to ask you a question. How well known is it amongst fans that you're all related?
Oh, they know.
I think
Everybody
people
knows.
know.
We all have
But-
blood in our
Yeah.
in our names.
See, that's
A
the
lot-
thing I
I-
thought because of that. Yeah.
I do have to say, I wore the leg warmers first. It was that tag
I
match.
love that. My little girl thought they were amazing.
That tag match, and he was like, "I'll wear the same leg warmers as
Yeah.
you, so we look the same." So
Yeah,
I'd be,
that was when I rocked the tassels as well.
yeah. So I actually literally gave him the ones I had. Got another pair
Yeah.
from like Timu's finest. So we're both there in the fluffy wet leg warmers. And then he's like, "Yeah, I'm going to keep this for when I'm doing
I
face."
think
So
it's so memorable though. I'll tell you now.
but everyone will
You know,
think I nicked it off
Martin
him.
Kirby took a photograph of me at the
Right.
Rapid Action show because he thought my look looked so cool.
Yeah,
I mean, I was wearing the cowboy hat as well. I was going out for strange
When
blood.
you and Tim had those hats on when you were doing spots in the ring, was
That was
fantastic.
brilliant.
It was great, wasn't it?
So
It
good.
really was. But no, going off what you were saying, do you remember obviously at the MPW show when I introduced you to my little girl and that? She remembered Thomas really like spectacular. She was like, he was great. You really stood out to her, right? Because you were big and bold and colourful.
Yeah.
And when we went and met him afterwards, she was like, I said, do you want to meet him? Can we meet him? I was like, he's over there. And because you had your hair tied back at this point, this, that, the other, and you just dressed like normally, and she went, where? And I was like, over there. She went, oh, he's not wearing it. And she was gutted you weren't wearing your gear. And I was like, Howie. And that was why she was, did you not notice how nervous she was around you? She's only 9. And she was like, hi. And then you introduced her and I think you put her at ease a bit, you know what I mean? But yeah, she was desperate. You stood out to her so much. And she was glad you won. You were buzzing. She was buzzing. She was like, hey, he was the best. And I was like, yeah, we'll go meet him. But I had to take her to meet Joseph Biggs, man. Because Joseph, when he came out, went like that one. And she jumped and she was howling because I put her on the end of the aisle on purpose and she was like that. So I had to take her to meet him and just say, he's a nice guy up front. But no, I mean, I love that. I just the fact that, you know, the family thing, getting my family involved in it as well. And you've all been really, especially, I know you two haven't met my daughter and I yet, but obviously both of you have. And the fact that you got to meet you and after, you know, this, that, and the other. And when we left, I hadn't said this in front of yourself, but I had said, you do realise she's a wrestler as well? She was like, oh, really? So she was like, really, like, you know, really excited about that as well. But I mean, in terms of yourself, any silly wrestling stories you want to share?
Something that stands out, but not so silly. But so you know, been doing shows a little while, and a couple of the kids at the show, a couple of little girls, they came dressed as Bella to the show,
really?
and with a sign and everything, and it was just so lovely. They came out and did a little, because I went to see them beforehand, like, do they want to come in and do the entrance with me? So they did a bit of that, but I just thought, I never expected people to want to cheer a middle-aged woman doing wrestling, and just see these kids were so into it.
And did you have them as part of your entrance?
They came out and did, they came out and did the
wow.
entrance with me, which they were just really, really cute, weren't
Organic growth as well. So these aren't friends or family or people.
Oh, you didn't know these people?
Oh,
Never.
they're family members of one of the trainees, one
But
of the other
they
trainees.
weren't. They don't know you as a person. They didn't come to see. They just saw you wrestle,
Yeah,
and
so it
I
was
really
just
like
really-
her and dressed up.
Yeah, it was just
would
really
have been made up.
sweet moment.
Do you know, you kind of made a point that I made about doing this show. You never thought people would latch on you.
No.
In the same way I never thought people would want to do this. I mean, we're sitting here now, it's only the 5th show, but how many guests have I had within that? Because I like to have a lot of guests on at once. Ironically though, you know, the first show I ever did was Ryan Ace. It was just poor Ryan on his own, and he was like deer in headlights. He was like all of the questions that him, and he had to sit there for an hour and a half or whatever, or an hour or whatever it was. And I love having loads of people on, and honestly, family unit. I hope you want to do this again, because I will have you. I absolutely would want you all on again, because it's brilliant. Last but not least,
I've got 2.
go for it.
Two stories.
Fill the time. Go for it. Please.
So the first one is I don't know if I've mentioned this one before. The Ryan when I wrestled Ryan Ace for Royal. He's laughing.
I know what you're
He was on that show as well. So we had this idea for a spot where he was heel, I was face,
Right.
and he was going to keep cheating to the point where I lost my temper with him and I pants him.
Awesome.
A typical Ryan Ace match. And he was like, I'm gonna get these boxer shorts and they're gonna have like love hearts on them.
I've
So it's
seen
really like the
these
comic. It'll be really funny because he wrestles in a suit. Pull him down and it'll be the sort of like funny sort. He's like, with the sort of heart-shaped box shorts. So we got to that spot. He cheated. And I'm like, right, that's it. I'm sick of this. And I went, boom, pantsed him. And he's like in his heart-shaped underpants. And then I didn't spot what was on them.
Oh, I've seen these.
And I think I hit him with one of my signature moves, a Michinoku driver, go for the pin. He gets a rope break, and then we separate. And then I look down, and I'm like, I'm looking at myself because my face is in the heart.
Oh, yes, I've seen these in the flesh.
Yeah, so over his pants and a big one over the crotch with my face staring back at me, and why is my face on your pants? To which Kendall then repeated that as well, because Kendall didn't realise.
I think as workers, in terms of getting heat, I don't think I've ever known two guys can irritate a room full of people as much as
They are tremendous at that.
I love it.
Love
it. But no, I've seen those pants in the flesh, so I know exactly what you're talking about. Yes.
So that's my first story, my sort of funny story.
One of my
My other
favourite.
story that kind of is more sort of connected to the family was I was wrestling Tim Strange
Awesome.
on FTW. This was last December, I think it was.
Right.
So it was the first time I'd wrestled him, and the show was called the Alpha Prime tournament. So it was for the Alpha Prime belt. There was going to be a tournament going on. Lou Nixon was in it, and Jim Wilson was in it. And I was defending my heavyweight title against Tim, which is on any other show should be a big match, you know.
Absolutely.
Heavyweight title against Tim, who's like a legend in the Northeast. So I was like, we got together and like, how can we kind of make this match stand out on a show which is named after a different title and has this big tournament going on? So we need something like a little hook, something that like and Tim said, oh, what if I get colour? And I said, what if I get colour?
Oh God! Is that
I'd never got colour before.
Oh wow!
You're never doing it again.
So we're like, let's not. We checked with Big Chris as well. Obviously, it's his show. Wanting to get his like approval.
Indeed.
Spoke to Lou as well because Lou does this all the time. So I wanted to get a bit of
Oh,
advice
I've seen
from
some
Lou.
of Lou's footage. Yeah.
So I had advice from Lou.
Didn't
and
tell
Tim
me.
on how to do it. Didn't tell my wife. Didn't tell my
Didn't tell
kids.
any of us.
Oh God!
So literally, there was I think Jim Wilson knew, and that was it. And nobody else knew. So we get out there and we're like, right, so we had the plan, and then I was going to get colour, and then we were going to go pretty much straight to the finish from there.
Right.
And we get in the ring, and Katie, the referee, comes up to me and she says, the ring's broken, you're going to have to do stuff on the outside. So all of a sudden, like, our entire plan for the match was out. And we had to just pretty much call it on the fly. So we start off in the ring, Tim shit cans me out, and we just called it on the outside, just loads of heat on the outside, till we worked to the spot where I got colour. So I get thrown into the ring post, I drop under the ring, so pull the ring apron over my head so nobody can see me. I gig, and I make like small cut, and I was like, I don't think that's enough, I better do it again.
Oh God, no.
Do it again. And I look down and I just see little droplets of blood hitting the floor. I was like, that's it. There we go.
Oh my
So
God.
I pop up and I'll do that,
Well, you gotta
smear it all up,
yeah.
and look at my hand and it's just red. I'm like,
Literally
yeah, that's it. And so I'm thrilled, and Tim picks me up, chucks me in the ring. Katie comes over, mate, go to the finish. It's really bad. And I'm like, no, it's great. I'm fine.
You're just adrenaline at this
Yeah,
point.
like I'm going on pure adrenaline, but I am crimson.
I think
Had
people.
you nicked something?
I just got a
too
bit
deep.
deep on the second cut.
Right.
So
But people-
and your blood vessels are very close to the skin on your
that's
head.
what I mean. You nicked something.
So
yeah.
I'm gushing. I mean, it's not squirting out, but it is running.
People
down
are
my
looking
face.
at me to
Obviously they know who
because
you are.
everyone
No,
knows.
I
that
hadn't.
he hadn't
her
told
she
me,
was-
and like I'm thinking like you would expect me to maybe react differently, but I'm like, this doesn't look right. Right, so
So did you think it was like a hardware bleed or something?
I knew what he'd done. I went and found Chris was over by the stairs, and I went and found him. I'm like, is it meant to be like this? And he's like, oh, I think not really. And then so I ran upstairs and met you coming
So
off.
yeah, so we went to the finish. We planned exactly how we planned.
I don't think I even saw the finish.
And I got backstage, and Ross, the other referee, Ross, was there, and he's like, by that point, I've got my belt on my shoulder, I've got blood running down my face. I go, mate, that looks sick. Let's get a photograph of you. So I'm there going, grimacing, like blood running down my face, my title, and I think I'm looking awesome. And Ross taking a picture of me, I look proper badass. And then Bella comes down the stairs and went, you upstairs now.
all the badassery goes.
Right, I mean, that's it.
Planned all this, all right. He didn't even have a sticky plaster.
So I put so much thought into how I was going to gig, and I hadn't put any thought into like how do I patch myself
How
up
do you stop it
afterwards.
bleeding?
Fortunately, there was a wrestler on the card called Hera,
Right.
and she used to be a nurse, and
she knew what she was
She
doing.
cleaned
patched
him
me
up, yeah.
She patched me up.
How did you feel? Legitimately.
I wasn't very happy.
Furious.
Well, I mean, you knew I would be because I mean that's why.
That's why I didn't tell
that's
you,
why
because you'd
tell
have
me.
told me not to do
Yeah.
It's the old saying, it's better to ask for forgiveness than
Exactly.
permission, you know?
Yeah,
Exactly.
just wait till I do it.
Do you have footage of this?
Oh, yeah.
Could you send it to me?
Yeah,
I'd like to see this.
yeah,
in
and saying the
my
match.
face,
It was
yeah.
actually
Not
there was a-
really reliving, I'd quite like to see this.
There was a lad called Tom there who was a film student. He was
Right.
he was doing his final year at university,
Right, okay.
studying film, and he was starting to train as a wrestler.
Right.
He made a documentary about wrestling, and that was the first show he came to. So he filmed all of that, and the
okay.
opening scenes from his documentary is me laid in the ring with blood pouring out her face, and Katie holding like a wad to my
You'll have
forehead.
that documentary you could send.
Yeah, it's on
Oh
YouTube.
yeah, it's on YouTube.
What's
yeah.
it called?
Kayfabe.
Kayfabe.
Well, wouldn't mind
Kayfabe
forwarding the link, and
2025.
I'll, 'cause I wouldn't mind watching
Yeah.
these. I'd like to see that. I wouldn't mind seeing the full match if you have
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
If you
Also
Oh.
make a plug for
Yes,
Drogo.
I'll,
Go on, you
go
can.
for it.
So,
this is your
yeah.
this is your platform.
So
At the
I'm
camera.
making a documentary about like the behind the scenes of wrestling. I'm calling it Rope Break. I'm releasing the trailer today, probably. I'll send you the link
Yes,
for
please.
that.
Yeah.
I've
Can I
got,
put it on the channel?
yeah,
Please,
yeah,
please
that'll
do.
be-
Yeah,
Please
I'd
do.
love to do that. Brilliant. Thank you.
I've got like poster and stuff, and I've got interviews from like loads of people from FTW, and I've got loads of interviews at Rapid Action. So I got like Matty Mayhem, Tim Strange, Martin Kirby. It's like people with loads of experience. I've got loads of footage of just like behind the scenes, just to show everyone what wrestling's really like behind the cameras. So it should be good.
So this Drogo is looking to study film and TV production at university next year.
Wonderful.
So as part of that, obviously grades are important, A levels and what have you, but also your portfolio
You need a
is very
portfolio.
important.
So it's to go in there.
So this is an extracurricular activity that he can showcase as part of his application at university. So really, if you don't support this, you're not supporting a young person trying to,
I agree.
attend university
Watch
and, and make something
when
and
we
become
stop
a...
rolling, I want to speak to you about something because this links into an idea that I had a while ago, and I think you're already doing the idea that I had a while ago, so I need to speak to you about that, but we'll do that off camera. But no, honestly, this has been, and I don't want to be derogatory about any of my other episodes, but this has been one of the most entertaining, fun episodes, and I hope you've all enjoyed it.
Oh,
It's been
And
great.
I hope you'll do it again.
Oh,
I know you're
We
here for a
will.
second stint
Oh,
already.
I'm always up for talking about myself.
Well, do you know the thing is, right? I don't like talking about myself and I don't have much to talk about, thank God, because I'm so new to this. I've done 2 shows for about, the equivalent of probably, 10 minutes worth of work, you know what I mean? But I mean, no, thank you all for coming on. I can't thank you enough. It's been absolutely wonderful. I do just have to give one quick last shout out to my sponsors. So once again, Valves and Vibes, Motors and Campers. They do custom tent lift-up roofs on Land Rover Discoveries. They also do other vehicle-based camping equipment and whatnot. They are a new company. Their website, I don't believe is live yet, but they do have a Facebook page. Please check them out. Maybe pass some business. It's a mate of mine. He's a good lad. And also, Insane Competitions, which is a pay-to-play competition website. They do lots of giveaways, win Xboxes, AirPods, Ray-Ban, Meta glasses, things of that nature. Have a look. I think there's some giveaways on there that don't cost either. So, if you're not able to pay, at least you might be able to chance to win something. But give them a look. Have a look. It's pretty good. I know there's a lot of them out there these days, but this is one of the better ones, I do have to say. Again, I am biased, but worth a look. But no, once again, thank you all for coming on. The Blood family, fantastic guests, absolutely one of the best yet. Absolutely fantastic. I've been Stephen Fairbairn. Thank you again from the Wrestling Report. Cheers.
All right.